Welcome to the MMP training video. This session is designed to help you report to the Municipal Measurement Program in Re-TRAC Connect. If you are a state, county, or other regional government agency seeking access to the MMP data, please visit municipalmeasurement.com or contact us at mmp@retrac.com. Let's begin by reiterating what the MMP is and why it exists. The Municipal Measurement Program is a free program assessment and planning tool that provides participating municipal waste management agencies with access to powerful analytical reports designed to measure waste diversion performance and improve programs. The MMP was designed to harmonize the measurement of material management programs and provide municipalities with decision-making tools that can improve recycling program performance. In this video, we will cover the following topics: navigating the Re-TRAC Connect software, navigating the MMP surveys, highlighting key questions in the MMP surveys, how to save progress, how to complete your surveys, accessing and generating analytical reports, and how to access technical support. If you still have questions after watching this video, please email us at mmp@retrac.com. Let's begin. As a reminder, once your application to participate in the MMP has been approved, you'll receive an email welcoming you to the program and instructing you to set your password. Once you have successfully logged into Re-TRAC Connect, you'll be taken directly to the home page. This page displays the programs you've joined, so you should already see the MMP on your home page. Before we continue, let's just take a moment to highlight a few helpful features on this page. 1. The notifications feature is accessible from the top navigation bar. Notifications provide useful information about the programs you've joined and helpful reminders about new programs in the software. The account menu is used to access technical support, edit your account details, and log out of the software. Remember, you can always return to the home page by clicking the home icon in the left-hand corner. Now that you're familiar with the home page, let's navigate to the members page by clicking on the MMP block. Welcome to the members page. This page is designed to give you quick access to your members and their respective workspaces. Re-TRAC Connect defines a member as an organization that has joined a program in the software, and since you've joined the MMP, your municipality is considered a member of that program. That means that you should already see your municipality listed on this page. Clicking on your municipality's name will take you to your workspace. Before we move on to the workspace, I just want to point out that you can update your municipality's contact information by clicking Edit Member, right down at the bottom here. So let's click on our member sample city, Michigan, to move on to the workspace. So this is the workspace page. It's designed to help you navigate the MMP's program assessment surveys. Let's take a moment to highlight a few important features on this page before we begin reporting to the MMP. You can contact the MMP Program Manager by clicking Contact Program Manager. You can prepare to report to the MMP by clicking on Program Instructions. And surveys have 4 different statuses. New, meaning that a survey is brand new and ready for you to begin. Draft, that it's a draft of the survey that has been saved so you can continue on with your progress. Completed, the survey response has been marked as complete and no longer editable. And verified, the survey response has been reviewed and verified by the Recycling Partnership. There are also 3 core MMP surveys and 2 optional surveys. The core surveys are about your municipality, residential curbside program assessment, and residential drop-off program assessment. You can see they're all under the required surveys banner here. Down below, you will see the public space program assessment survey, processing facilities assessment survey. Those 2 are optional. And sometimes you'll also see, let's begin by completing the first survey about your municipality. By clicking the new icon, we'll begin. So all MMP surveys include additional instructions with details about the survey and a few tips on how to complete the reporting process. Survey instructions can be found in the top right corner of any survey. You need to ensure all fields that have a red asterisk have been filled out. These are required fields. In most cases, there will be an option for other or I don't know if the options presented are not applicable. In many cases, if other is selected, there will be additional space for you to provide more detail. This survey in particular collects general demographic information about your municipality and high-level information about the types of waste and recycling programs available to residents in your municipality. So to begin, we will be asked, what is our municipal classification? I'm going to select urban. The next question is, what is your population? So I'm going to enter 29,500. And this is an important question because we do have a per capita tonnage analysis report that will need this number to generate correctly. A few other questions about seasonal population increases. And we ask, what are the biggest waste management and recycling challenges for your municipality? These are particularly helpful to the Recycling Partnership and other organizations that have an interest in improving municipal program performance by introducing new tools and resources that support the delivery of those programs. Does your municipality have a full-time dedicated recycling coordinator position? I'll answer a few more of these, and I won't spend time on every single one. You'll notice as you move through the survey that depending on how you answer a particular question, other questions might pop up. So, for example, has your municipality purchased products with recycled content as part of a buy recycled procurement policy? If I choose yes, I'll be asked to describe that. Same idea in the next question here. Does your municipality participate in recycling rewards program? Yes. Tell us about the programs that you're participating in. Here's another important question. Is your municipality involved in developing and delivering education outreach programming? So if you choose yes, an entire section will open up here below where you can provide more detail about your education outreach activities. If you say no, that another agency delivers a lot of that education outreach, you'd be asked just to identify what other agency is performing that role. There are a few more questions here about your organization. So is your municipality a Keep America Beautiful affiliate? Whether or not you have any members of SWANA on your team. And it also asks if you are willing to share your municipality's MMP data with the following organizations. Finally, we'll move to a little bit of information collected about the person who's actually completing the survey. So I'm going to put my sample city, Michigan, in here, and I'll select the state, and I'll provide a phone number. Finally, we ask you to certify that the information provided is accurate and complete. Our goal is to ensure that the data provided is good quality. So I'm going to click Save. And we will see that I have a few errors I need to correct before I can save this. I can either choose to go back and correct the error, or I can save the draft as is with the error included, but that means that I will not be able to mark this complete until the error has been resolved. So I'm going to go back and fix it. Looks like I forgot to complete one of the required questions, so I'm going to identify that the state supports our education outreach programming. And so now if I click Save, I'm given the opportunity to save the draft or mark complete. I've done everything here. I'm happy with the data, so I'm going to mark it complete. Great. So now we'll see that I'm back on our workspace, and the About Your Municipality survey has now moved from new to completed. Let's move on to the next survey, the Residential Curbside Program Assessment. So this survey collects more information about the curbside collection programs, including single-family recycling, MSW, multifamily, and curbside organics. So the first question it will ask is whether or not residents in your municipality have access to the curbside collection services. If I answer yes, it will open up the rest of the survey to collect more detail. If I answer no, you'll be able to breeze through the survey fairly quickly because there won't be a lot of extra detail to provide. So I'm going to click yes. So the next question asks you to define what types of housing units are considered single family for the purposes of curbside collection. For example, row houses and duplexes may be multi-unit, but if they are provided the same single-family collection services, they would be included as single-family households. So we encourage you to use the U.S. Census Bureau website. This has replaced American Fact Finder. And so what you do, I'm going to use just any city here. And I'm going to type in housing. So now that I've arrived here, I can click on the total housing unit data. And from here, I can see the total housing units based on the last census for single unit, detached, attached, the 2 units. So I can use this information to sum up single family households and multifamily households and include mobile home or boat and RV if you do consider those single family. So I'm going to plug in a number here of 139, 517, and we'll say we'll have 4,256 multifamily households. Answer the pay-as-you-throw. The number of households will be used to calculate your pounds per household, so it's important to ensure that it's accurate. So I'm going to answer these last few questions and click Save. So now we'll be brought to the next page. You can click on the page numbers to move between pages. The bar below the page number will update to indicate whether or not there are errors remaining on the page or not. If the indicator is yellow, there are errors. If the indicator is green, then there are no errors, and all required fields are complete on that page. Pages 2 to 5 of this survey collect details about different types of collection programs being provided in your municipality. They include questions specifically related to residential curbside, MSW, single-family curbside recycling, multifamily recycling, and organics collection. Each program has its own page. The first question asks if a particular type of curbside collection is available to residents. If you answer yes, the remainder of the page will open up to collect more detail. So the first question asks, do residents in single-family households have access to curbside municipal solid waste collection? By answering no, I would be finished with this page and I can move on. If I answer yes, it will open up more questions to provide more detail. The next question asks how curbside MSW collection service is provided to single-family households in the municipality. That's typically done by the municipality itself, which includes publicly operated services, contracted service, franchise service, and licensed service, or it can be done by a private or open market system. The next question asks how many single-family households in your municipality are served by the residential curbside MSW collection program. All single-family households, which would be this number that's being provided just to reference, or if you click Other, you can provide a different number, like so that only a subset of your residents actually have access to MSW collection at the curb. Next, it will ask whether you can provide information about the service providers for MSW curbside collection. So I would provide the name, the service type, how residents receive that service. There's opt-in automatically, or if they have to opt in with a fee or no fee, the rate fee if it's known, and the collection frequency. And you can continue to add more service providers as needed here to provide additional detail. The definitions are provided below so that you understand exactly what each of these options mean. If you can provide the tipping fee, you can provide an exact number or the average. It asks what type of containers are used for your curbside MSW collection program. By choosing these, roll cart or bags, It will reveal additional questions such as the volume of the roll carts. And then finally we get to the tonnage section. So this will ask if you can provide the total tonnage, the total annual tonnage for curbside MSW. If I say yes, I'll be able to provide that number directly into the box below here. If I say yes, but that curbside MSW tonnage is combined with other programs, I'll be given the opportunity to identify which other programs are included in that tonnage number. And then when I provide a number, I'm then given the opportunity to estimate what percentage is truly MSW. We'll say that this is for the entire calendar year, and then we ask, where do you receive the tonnage information? Is that from weight reports, or is it a volume to weight conversion, or some other method? I'll click Save to move on to the next page, and we'll notice that I have 9 errors. I'm going to save the draft to proceed to the next page. And we'll now see that I have that yellow fill on page 2 because I still have errors that I need to correct. Next, we move into the single-family curbside recycling. So if I say yes, I will reveal the questions very similar to the MSW. So how is curbside recycling collection provided? I'll say it's provided by the municipality. And I'm going to say that all single-family households have access to the curbside recycling program. And I'm going to provide some information about our haulers that are providing that service. And down below, we'll ask what type of curbside recycling collection is offered. In my case, I'm going to choose single stream. We'll say that we're using curbside bins and roll carts, using 60 to 66 gallon roll carts. We ask whether there's an ordinance in place to encourage recycling, where you can identify what type of ordinance is in place. Provide additional detail for your ordinances. And then we ask whether you can provide a set out rate. If you can't provide the set out rate, you can enter it directly into this field here. If you don't track the set out rate or you're not sure, there'll be no box. Same thing with the average inbound contamination rate for your residential curbside recycling program. If you have the average, you can provide that here. If you have an approximate rate, you can also select that. This is helpful in some of the analytical reports, such as the trend report. So if you've participated 2 years in a row, you'll be able to see if there are trends in your contamination year to year. We also ask whether your municipality engages in curbside contamination control activities. If you select yes, you'll be able to identify those activities, how often some of those activities are undertaken, and then whether or not you measure the impact of your anti-contamination efforts. Here we ask you to list the most problematic materials. And the next section here is asking you to identify which materials are accepted in your single-family curbside recycling program. Finally, we'll be asking whether or not you can provide the annual tons for single-family recycling. If you can provide the tons directly, enter it right in the box here. If it's combined, same idea as the MSW, be able to identify what other programs are included in that number and estimate it out. In some cases, you may even be able to provide very specific tonnage information separated by recycling categories, so paper, plastic, glass, and metal. So I'm going to move on to the next page. I know that I have errors, that I have skipped a few sections here. Next, we'll be talking about multifamily recycling. So yes, I have multifamily recycling, or no, or I don't know. In this case, I'm going to say no. Many of these questions are repeated from the single family curbside recycling, so you will probably have become very familiar with this by now, by the time you get to page 4. On page 5, I'm going to say yes, I do have organics. And so my curbside organics program is either provided by our municipality or by a private or open market system. In this case, let's say a private or open market system. And we'll say a subset of households actually have access to this. And I'm going to provide a separate number here. And we accept this in bags and loose bundles, branches. And the types of bags we use are biodegradable compostable plastic bags. And our collection is only seasonal. And let's say that we are collecting only through 5 months of the year. Make it 6. And we accept yard trimmings, food waste, and packaging. We accept our food waste and yard trimmings in the same container, yes. And again, same kind of question where we're going to provide our annual tons. And identify where it came from. And now I'm going to save this, and we'll hit page 6, where again we'll be asked to provide more information about who's completing the survey. And that will certify that I have prepared this correctly. So we've now saved a draft. We know we have errors. I'm going to move back to the workspace so I can show you that this survey is still considered draft. I haven't been able to mark it complete because I need to correct some of those errors and make sure that all the required fields are completed before I can move that to the completed state. Next, we'll look at the residential drop-off program assessment. So this, again, starts with the question that asks whether or not we operate drop-off locations. By saying yes, we'll open up all the other questions. So approximately how many residents have access to the drop-off sites operated by the municipality? And so we'll say 5,000. And we have 12 drop-off sites run by our municipality. It's a very important distinction too to make here that we're interested in collecting information about the drop-off sites that are actually operated by the municipality. There may well be drop-off sites that are operated by businesses or nonprofits, but those would not count in terms of the survey. We're only looking for drop-offs by the municipality. I'm going to say that 3 of these sites are staffed, and it does accept commercial materials from businesses, and that we do charge a fee of $50. This next section is going to ask how many of the drop-off sites accept these particular material categories. So residential recyclables, say 10 of our 12 accept that. 4 of our 12 accept municipal solid waste. Source separated organics, 1. 1 for scrap tires. Okay, now that I've entered that, as long as there is at least one drop-off site accepting that material type, there'll be an entire section that is revealed down below. So we now have the MSW, the recycling, the organics, and the scrap tires tonnage all revealed here. So I could provide tonnage information for this, absolutely. So these questions will become very familiar, they're very similar across the surveys, looking to get tonnage information. If I am able to provide specific detail about, again, paper, plastic, glass, or metal, I can separate the tonnage out by those categories, or provide a single number. I can provide a contamination rate. In the organic section, I'll be able to select my tonnage here. Again, I can always combine it with other programs or break it out by the material categories, and this is usually available for every section. If you can actually break out the tonnage by individual material categories, even better. And so this is pretty much the same throughout. This is repeated for each of those sections in the drop-off survey. Finally, you'll be asked if you want to include any listings on recyclesearch.com, which is another service provided by Emerge Knowledge Design. I'll save this draft. And now when I hit back to the workspace, I've now got one completed survey and two draft. So let's click Analytics. And this municipality already has a fair bit of data. By the way, this is all fictional data that I've entered, and this isn't truly Highland Park's data at all. I just wanted to be able to provide you some indication of how these analytical reports can be used. So you'll notice right away on the analytics page here that the reports are all organized into three different sections. One, the program recommendations report. Two, the performance reports, and then three, benchmarking reports. So let's start first with the Curbside Program Recommendations Report. So the way that the Curbside Program Recommendations Report works is that based on the way that you've responded to specific questions in the surveys, it will provide recommendations to improve your program. So if I look at 2019 here, I generate this. Right away I'm seeing there is an opportunity to improve my program because I said I don't know to the question, do you know your set out rate for your municipality? Higher set out rates can improve the efficiency and effectiveness of your curbside recycling programs. So by clicking on this, I'm taken to the recycling partnerships information about set out rates. It has a video, and I can learn all about the reasons why it's important to measure this ongoing. So that's just one example. So depending on how you've responded to some of the questions, you'll see different information here with different tools and resources. Clicking Analytics on the left-hand side here will take us right back to our Analytics menu, where I can now choose the annual diversion rate report from the performance reports group. So I have the opportunity to select the diversion rate for all programs, or I can look at individual programs, so curbside or drop-off public space. So I'm going to do all programs for the moment. We can see that my all programs diversion rate is a healthy 61.2%. I also get a breakdown of the total tons diverted versus disposed. And then down below a table to provide the actual tonnage values here, in addition to a footnote to describe how that was calculated. These reports, by the way, can be exported. The charts can be exported to PNG, JPEG, or SVG, and tables can always be exported to Excel files, CSV or XLSX. Alternatively, you can export it to a PDF using this button right here. All right, let's head back and check out another report. The annual tonnage by program report, as you can imagine, will give you an annual tonnage analysis that breaks down each of the different programs that you have in your municipality. So here we're getting a breakdown of all the tonnage in our curbside program, so single family, MSW, multifamily curbside, and then we also get a breakdown of our drop-off recyclables in the next set of columns here, all the way across. Whenever you don't have any data that's been provided, it'll be indicated here in the cell, no data available. And same idea here with our public space program. In these charts, you'll also be able to click on any of these legend items to remove them from view. That can be helpful sometimes when you're narrowing your focus on a particular program. Let's head back and do another one here. The annual trend report. This, of course, you will need to have participated in the MMP for 2 years in a row, so completed the 2018 surveys in addition to the 2019 reporting year surveys to be able to use this report. So if I want to look at my all programs diversion rate, we'll see how that's changed from last year to this year. Well, we have an improved diversion rate for all of our programs. It can be seen in line. You can change the view here as well. And you can choose different metrics to trend over time. So if I want to look at my overall tonnage, I can also see how that's changed year to year. Next, the economic benefits of recycling. This is based on the EPA's REI report, which is linked in the description. By generating this, I can now see how our recycling efforts can be translated into estimated job creation impact, estimated wages attributable, and estimated tax revenue attributable. So this is really useful as a PR tool to be able to say, this is what recycling means to our municipality in terms of dollars and jobs. The environmental benefits report, as I had mentioned earlier, requires that the processing facilities assessment survey is completed because we need to know how materials are managed in your municipality. So this report is based on the EPA's WARM model, and it's using the metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent calculation to translate into everyday terms like barrels of oil conserved. My favorite here is wind turbines running for 1 year. And so we get the total tons diverted, total tons disposed, and the equivalent metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. And you get a breakdown of each of your programs and how they've contributed to that overall equivalency. So wind turbines running for 1 year. The per capita tonnage. This is using the population you provided in the About Your Municipality survey and the tonnage that's provided in the other surveys, the Curbside program assessment and the drop-off program assessment. And this is just basically dividing that by your population to get a MSW pounds per person, recycling pounds per person, and organics pounds per person. The performance summary. This is a nice way of seeing all of your metrics in one place. So by generating this, I can get a bunch of those different program performance metrics on one report. It's kind of helpful to see it at a glance all in one place. So I can see my contamination rate, public space diversion rate, and you can also select these if you want to do just a few. So if I want to look at, let's say, my 3 major programs here, curbside drop-off and public space diversion rates, I can just view those on their own. The total pounds per household report requires that you have filled out the number of households that are being served by your curbside program, specifically your single-family curbside recycling program. So it will then show you the pounds per household generated for recycling, MSW, and organics. And that number, as we can see here, this is the total number of households in the municipality, Highland Park. The number of those households that are actually served by the single-family curbside recycling collection program is the same number. And that is used to identify how many pounds per household. So if we had a lower number here because perhaps our curbside MSW collection doesn't serve all residents, it would be using that number rather than the full 90,000. And finally, we get to the benchmarking reports. So the program performance benchmarking is a very exciting report that allows you to compare your performance against that of your peers, so other municipalities participating in the MMP. So here we're going to compare our curbside diversion rate against all the other municipalities in the MMP. And this, by the way, is a demo count, so there are only about 5 more. But I can see the minimum, average, and maximum value for the total tons diverted, disposed, and the diversion rate for curbside. And down below, I can see how Highland Park, I can see how my program performance metrics here compare to the MMP average. And that's shown up here in the chart. So the average curbside diversion rate is 45.18 for those other MMP members, and I'm exceeding that as Highland Park. So as the MMP grows, there'll be an even greater data set to use some of these other filters, so you can start to compare yourself to other municipalities of similar population size. You will choose geographic region to just compare within your state or county. Municipal classification, limit it to specific programs, or if other members have recycling ordinances, you'll be able to create a filter based on that information as well. Lastly, we have the single-family pounds per household recycling compared to the US national average, and this number is taken from the Recycling Partnership's State of Curbside report, which shows that the national average in the US is 357 pounds per household for curbside recycling. So we can see how Highland Park compares to that. And as a reminder, this is all fictional data that I have entered on behalf of a Highland Park, Illinois. This isn't truly Highland Park's data. And so that summarizes our analytics. If you still have questions, we encourage you to email us at mmp@re-trac.com. I'd be happy to answer any of your questions. I hope this has provided a excellent guide for you to follow along as you complete your surveys in the MMP. And just want to remind you that you need to mark your surveys complete before you can access the analytical reports that I've just shown you here. Thank you so much.